November 5, 1944. Private Thomas Sullivan crouched in a shattered cafe in Nancy, France, watching German fortifications emerge from dawn fog. 24 years old, 8 months in combat, 18 confirmed kills. 0 times he'd survived seeing the enemy first. The problem wasn't his weapon. The M1903 Springfield could hit targets at 800 yards. The problem wasn't training. Sullivan had graduated second in his class at Fort Benning. The problem was simple and fatal. German snipers always spotted him first. They used a technique called the double position. Fire from one spot, relocate 40 yards, fire again before Americans could react. Sullivan needed 15 seconds to acquire, calculate, and shoot. Germans needed the same time, but they were already aiming while he was still searching. By November, the 3rd Infantry Division had lost 19 snipers in Nancy. 19 expert marksmen, all killed the same way, shot while hunting targets they never saw. Sullivan's first partner was Sergeant David Morris. October 21st. Farm kid from Iowa who could drop a coyote at 250 yards. They'd worked together 4 weeks. Morris had 11 kills. That morning, a 7.92mm round caught him in the temple while he scanned a warehouse. Sullivan never saw the shooter. The German had been watching, waiting, ready. His second partner was Corporal Alex Rivera. October 31st. Sharp-eyed kid from Arizona, 14 kills in 3 weeks. Rivera took a chest shot while watching a trench line. Died slowly, drowning in blood while medics fought to save him. The German had fired from rubble 380 yards out. By the time Sullivan found the position, it was empty. The pattern never changed. American looks through scope. German, already watching, fires first. American dies. Command kept ordering the same tactics: stay mobile, change positions, use cover. But the orders missed the core problem. While American snipers searched forward through 8x magnification scopes, they couldn't see threats from other angles. The narrow field of view, barely 8 degrees, was like peering through a cardboard tube. Everything outside that cone vanished. German snipers exploited this ruthlessly. They didn't attack from positions Americans watched. They shot from flanks, from angles no one was scanning. After Rivera died, Sullivan spent 2 nights wrestling with the problem. How do you see threats you're not looking at? How do you survive when the enemy always spots you first? The answer came from his shaving kit, a standard-issue mirror, 4 or 6 inches. Sullivan realized he could mount it to see behind him while looking through his scope. Positioned correctly, he could check his flanks with a glance. No head movement, no giving away his position. It was insane. Modifying equipment without authorization could mean court-martial. But Morris was dead. Rivera was dead. 19 others were dead. Sullivan didn't plan to be number 20. On November 4th, he worked alone in a bombed-out hotel. The building reeked of smoke and explosives. Using electrical tape, a knife, and wire cutters, he tested positions for 40 minutes. Too high, and he couldn't see it. Too low, and it blocked his view. Too far forward, wrong angle. Finally, perfect. Mounted left side of the scope, angled 45 degrees, 8 inches forward of his eye. While aimed through the scope, he could see the mirror in peripheral vision. One glance left revealed everything behind him. His hands shook as he worked, not from cold, but from knowing this violated every regulation. But Rivera's face kept surfacing. Rivera gasping, blood bubbling, dying because he couldn't see the flanking angle. The installation took an hour. The mirror kept slipping. Twice it clattered to the floor, his heart hammering each time. If anyone heard, if an officer investigated, immediate charges. Finally, it held. He tested it repeatedly, secured it with 3 additional layers of tape, added maybe 4 ounces. Negligible. Didn't affect the scope's 0. It looked crude, obviously unauthorized. But Sullivan kept it cased, planning to deploy it only on missions. At dawn on November 5th, Sullivan moved into the destroyed cafe with his new partner, Private Luis Garcia. Garcia was 20, from New Mexico, 3 weeks as a sniper, 0 kills, but good instincts. He noticed the mirror immediately. "What's that for?" "Survival." They set up on the second floor. A brick oven provided cover. A wall crack gave them sight lines to the German factory 420 yards out. Garcia watched their entrance while Sullivan scanned through his scope. The factory materialized from fog. Shattered windows, collapsed sections, rubble. Somewhere in that wreckage, German snipers waited. Sullivan pressed his eye to the scope, started his methodical left-to-right scan. His narrow field of view showed maybe 50 feet at this range, everything else invisible. But now he had the mirror. In peripheral vision, it showed the street behind him, the ruined buildings, his flanks. Not perfect coverage, but infinitely better than total blindness. At 7:31, movement in the factory. 3rd floor, damaged window. Definitely human. A German setting up position. Sullivan calculated 425 yards, calm wind, easy shot. He was about to fire when something flickered in the mirror. Behind him, across the street. A building cleared the night before. 3rd floor window. Something moved. Sullivan kept his eye on the scope, but shifted attention to the mirror. A German sniper. Rifle barrel visible. Scope glinting. Aiming directly at Sullivan's position. Had probably been watching for minutes, about to fire. This was exactly how Morris died. But Sullivan saw it. The mirror revealed the threat. He didn't move, didn't turn, gave no indication he'd spotted anything. Just whispered to Garcia. "German sniper, building behind us, 3rd floor left window. He's aiming at us now." Garcia slowly positioned his M1 Garand, found the window, saw the target. "I see him. On my count, I take the factory. You take him. 3, 2, 1. Sullivan fired. The Springfield cracked. The German in the factory jerked backward, chest hit, fell. Garcia fired. The Garand's round punched through the window frame. The German behind them slumped forward. Dead. 2 shots, 2 kills, 5 seconds. Garcia was breathing hard. "That German had you dead. How did you see him?" Sullivan showed him the mirror. Garcia stared at it, then said, "You need to put that on every rifle in this battalion." That morning lasted 4 hours. Sullivan's team eliminated 8 German snipers. Sullivan got 5, Garcia 3. Every kill followed the same pattern. Sullivan would spot a target, check the mirror, and 4 times it revealed Germans trying to flank them. Each time, Garcia engaged the flanker while Sullivan took the forward target. The coordination was flawless. German snipers couldn't ambush them anymore. By evening, word spread. Sullivan's team had dropped 8 Germans without casualties. Other teams wanted answers. Garcia told them about the mirror. By nightfall, 4 snipers requested the modification. Sullivan installed the first mirror on Corporal James Bennett's rifle that night. Bennett, 31 from Wyoming, had lost 2 partners in 4 weeks, both killed by flanking shots they never saw. Bennett watched Sullivan work, asked detailed questions. When finished, Bennett tested it, looked through scope, glanced at mirror. "Perfect. Should have thought of this myself. What do I owe you?" "Don't get killed. That's payment enough." Next morning, Bennett's team engaged Germans near the cathedral. The mirror revealed 2 Germans. Bennett eliminated them before they fired, returned raving about how the modification saved his life. By November 12th, Sullivan had installed mirrors on 13 rifles. Some snipers improvised their own using broken glass, polished metal, even chrome from destroyed vehicles. The mirrors didn't need perfection. They just needed to reflect. The battalion's kill ratio flipped. October. 2 Americans lost for every German killed. Mid-November. 5-1 in American favor. Captain Richard Foster commanded the sniper platoon. Career Army, 14 years, knew every manual by heart. On November 14th, during a routine inspection, he spotted the mirror on Sullivan's Springfield. He stared at it for a long moment. "What is that?" Sullivan's stomach dropped. "Court-martial." Garcia spoke first, explained the mirror modification, how it helped see flanking threats, saved lives repeatedly, completely unauthorized but combat-proven. "Who authorized this?" "Nobody, sir. We did it ourselves, against regulations, but it works." Foster examined the mirror, tested the angle, looked through the scope, then the mirror. He understood immediately. "How many rifles have this?" 13, sir." Foster looked at Sullivan. "By tomorrow morning, every sniper rifle in this battalion gets one. That's an order. I'll handle paperwork. You keep my men alive." Sullivan stood stunned. Foster had just made it official, protected him from charges, understood these mirrors were saving lives. That night, Sullivan worked faster than ever, recruiting others, teaching installation. Some used tape, others wire. One used gas mask straps. Methods varied, principle stayed constant. Give snipers peripheral vision. By November 18th, every battalion sniper had a mirror, no longer secret. Standard equipment. German snipers noticed immediately. Intelligence reports mentioned unusual American behaviors, engaging flanking positions they shouldn't see, counterattacking before Germans fired, detecting threats outside their field of view. Germans tried adapting. Longer ranges, 600 to 800 yards instead of 400. But mirrors still showed flanking movement, multiple simultaneous attacks, but mirror-equipped pairs working together covered all angles. By late November, German snipers in Nancy avoided American sniper teams. The tactical advantage had shifted completely. The modification never became officially sanctioned during the war. An inspector noticed mirrors in December, wrote a report. Officers debated for weeks. Unauthorized modifications versus proven effectiveness. In January 1945, an evaluation team from Aberdeen Proving Ground visited Nancy. 3 officers, 2 civilian experts, inspected mirrors, tested them, interviewed snipers, measured improvements. Conclusion: significant survivability enhancement should integrate into doctrine. But they wanted redesign, manufactured mirrors, standardized brackets, proper military equipment. They wrote formal recommendations, submitted to Army Ordnance, suggested all sniper rifles get peripheral mirrors, made it sound like they discovered the innovation. Sullivan's name never appeared in documentation. Neither did Garcia's or Foster's. Official records showed Army evaluators identified the problem and developed the solution. Foster tried correcting this, wrote letters, submitted reports, ensured Sullivan's name appeared in battalion documents. Those reports vanished in bureaucracy. The evaluation team's version became official. Sullivan learned about this in February. An officer showed him the documentation, asked if he wanted to file a complaint. "No, I don't care about credit. I care that snipers are surviving." The war in Europe ended May 8, 1945. Sullivan survived 13 months of combat, 53 confirmed kills. The mirror saved his life at least 7 times. 7 Germans spotted trying to flank him, 7 eliminated first. Garcia survived 2. 18 confirmed kills. Returned to New Mexico, became a sheriff's deputy. Kept a photo of Sullivan's mirrored rifle on his desk for 30 years. Every November 5th, Garcia called Sullivan, thanked him for the mirror, said he wouldn't have survived Nancy without it. Bennett survived. 37 confirmed kills. Mirror saved him 5 times. Returned to Wyoming, became a hunting guide, sometimes told clients about the desperate sniper who figured out how to see threats he wasn't looking at. Sullivan stayed in the Army until 1947, then returned to Pennsylvania. Worked in a steel mill for 33 years. Married in 1948, had 2 children, lived quietly. When asked about the war, he'd say he was a sniper. That's all. Never mentioned the mirror, never mentioned saving dozens of lives, never mentioned changing how American snipers fought. Not modesty. He just didn't think it mattered anymore. By the 1960s, the mirror modification was mostly forgotten. New scopes had better optics, some with integrated peripheral indicators, but nobody remembered the concept started with shaving mirror taped to a Springfield in Nancy. Official Army history never mentioned Sullivan. Training manuals credited improved optics and tactics. His contribution erased through bureaucratic process. In 1989, a military historian researching sniper innovations found references to improvised mirrors in November 1944 maintenance logs. The logs mentioned Private Sullivan. The historian tracked down Garcia, who told the whole story. The historian found Sullivan through veteran registries. Sullivan was 69, still in Pennsylvania. Did you install the mirrors? Yes. Why does that matter 40 years later? Based on survival rates in units with mirrors versus without, your modification probably saved between 50 and 70 American lives between November 1944 and May 1945. Never counted, just remembered Garcia and Bennett and the others who came back. That's enough. The historian published findings in 1991. Small article, Military History Journal, maybe 2,000 readers. Sullivan received 6 letters afterward, all from snipers or families. One from a sniper who'd used the mirror in Germany, saved his life twice. One from a widow whose husband was a Nancy sniper. She never knew about the mirrors. Learning about them decades later gave her comfort. Captain Foster visited Sullivan in 1994. They hadn't met in 47 years. Talked for hours about Nancy, about snipers lost, about ones saved. Foster said he'd tried for years getting Sullivan recognized. Nobody cared. Too much time passed. I don't need recognition. I have Garcia alive, Bennett alive, 50 others alive. That's recognition enough. Thomas Sullivan died June 12, 2003. He was 83. His obituary mentioned World War II service. Nothing about the mirror modification. Nothing about saving dozens of lives. Nothing about changing how American snipers fought in Europe. His funeral was small. Family, friends, 5 men Sullivan barely knew. They introduced themselves after the service. Snipers whose lives the mirrors saved. They'd read about Sullivan's death, wanted to pay respects, wanted his family to know what he'd done. Sullivan's children learned the full story that day. Learned their father installed mirrors on sniper rifles without authorization. Learned those mirrors saved lives. Learned he never talked about it, because he didn't think it mattered. Today, Sullivan's story exists in fragments. Maintenance logs in National Archives, interview transcripts, a paragraph in a book about sniper modifications. But at the Infantry Museum at Fort Moore, you can see an M1903 Springfield from World War II. Mounted on the scope, a small rectangular mirror, 4-6 inches, metal frame, crude tape mounting. Labeled as field modification common in late 1944. No name attached. That mirror is Sullivan's legacy. Not the official one. The real one. The one that mattered to Garcia and Bennett and the 50 others who survived because a desperate sniper broke regulations to save his partners. That's how innovation actually happens in war. Not through committees or manuals. Through soldiers who see problems and fix them. Who don't wait for authorization. Who risk everything because their friends are dying and they can't stand watching anymore. Sullivan installed the mirror to save Garcia. That mirror saved dozens. Now you know his name.